welcome back to our channel here at Three Scrappy Sisters. It's Imelda with another Layout Thursday video, and this is a layout I created using the April 2017 Felicity Jane Caroline kit. And this is probably the last Caroline kit that I will be, layout that I will be posting, only because I have already received my next month's kit and I'm super excited to get into it. I know you're just gonna love all the stuff and hopefully the layouts that I've created, because it's just so beautiful. So this layout is going to be a pretty simple one. I had these two photos of my kids, again from our trip to Niagara Falls, that I wanted to document just because they were being quite silly, and this is really just, this is them, this is how they are, but I will speak a little bit more about the photos in a little bit. So what I started here with was just, I wanted to get into cutting the paper. I generally hesitate a little bit on cutting into the paper only because it's really pretty and I don't want to waste any of it, but I find that for me that kind of wastes a lot of my creative time, and I sit there and, oh, what am I doing there? Just petting the paper. I sit there a lot and I think too much and too long, too hard about what I'm going to do, and then I end up just doing the same thing. So this time I wanted to just get in there, cut it, and force myself to use it, even if it's a little bit different than what I typically do. So that's what I did. So I went in and I cut the, I'm going to say mint colored paper. It's a little bit more blue than it is green, but for the lack of a better descriptive word, I will use mint, maybe teal. It's really light. Anyhow, so I cut that paper on an angle, and I knew that I wanted it to be in one of the corners, so I decided top corner. And then I found the scrap white paper with a little design on it, so I wanted to use a little bit of that just under the teal, so I glued that in. I measured it and just kind of eyeballed it and glued it in there. I did glue it with Scotch Quick Dry just because I knew that I wanted to do some machine stitching. So all I'm doing now is going through some of the scraps and the cutouts and the die cuts that came with the kit, just to see how I wanted to embellish. I feel like at this point there's not really any more design elements that I want to add to the layout, and I'm just going to go ahead and start embellishing and see where that takes me. So I decided on a label, some of the long strips, I don't know what else to call them. They came in the printable sheet, so I'm going to put that under the photo. And then, like I always do, I used the stamped images that I fussy cut, and I'm going to try and add those. So right to the right of the photo, I have a little stamp image that says, "There are no words," which is exactly how I felt about these photos, that there are really no words to explain exactly what they're doing, but I will try. So I'm going to put those all to the side, and then I'm going to bring in these flare buttons that I absolutely love, and I'm trying not to use them all on the same layout, so I'm just going to use just one. And then I'm going to go through the Project Life cards and see if there's anything that I want to add, and there isn't, but I do end up adding this little pocket that they came in because it's just so adorable, and I knew that I wanted to add some journaling, but I knew that I didn't want it to be a focus on the layout. So it is some hidden journaling, and I'm going to use not this Project Life card. I am just actually going to use a white cardstock that I type my journaling on. So let me tell you a little bit about these two goofy kids in these photos. So we were in Niagara Falls, like I said, and I had basically just asked them to pose for a picture, but I guess they're a little bit tired of posing for pictures since I take a million of them, and they decided that they wanted to be silly. So I was I just took the picture anyways. Basically, Bella is doing some sort of a dance or something. I have no idea. And Leo he was also dancing, but at this point when I took the picture, he was bent over and he was, yes, smacking his own butt. So that's my kids and their silliness, and that's what I captured. So basically that's the gist of what's in the journaling as well. Um, that's about it. So I'm just going to go through these die cuts now and I'm going to see what will work. And I really liked this scripty word smile, which ends up being my title, only because I feel like at this moment that's probably what I asked them to do. I said, sit, smile, and this is what I got. So, such is life. So here I am really in love with these little leather or suede bows. This is the last one that I have from the kit, and I am going to add it to this layout. And I really like the little packaging that it came with. It's like a little pillow box. So I'm going to save it and put in all of my fussy cut pieces and die cut pieces into there. So I am just looking for something else to add. I'm looking through the little rubber embellishments, and I wanted to add some of those scripty words again, but I didn't want to take away from the smile that I had already added. Oh, I actually forgot. I did use one of the Project Life cards, the one that says documented on the top in a script, but I had to trim it down just so that it would fit right side up, and then I changed my mind and I wanted the documented word to be sticking out from behind the photo. So I'm just trying to decide that right now, how I'm going to add it. But I do end up turning it around. And then I stuck it in my album, and then I went to turn the page and the journaling fell out. So now I am needing to figure out how I'm going to add an enclosure to that little envelope without making it too obvious. So if you have any ideas of what I may be able to use, just leave it in the comments and let me know what you would do to close that so that the journaling doesn't fall out whenever you flip the page. So I am taking these little arrows here and I am just going to stick on top another stamped image that I fussy cut, and it is the phrase, "That is so you," because this is just so them. This is what they do. They're silly. They love to have fun. They listen. They're very good listeners. So when I tell them it's time to cut it out, they're pretty good usually. But they're so silly and they make me laugh. So it's just so them. So at this point, I am nearing the end of my layout, and I am just going to pop some of these things on some foam. I'm going to cut these little strips, and they hang around on the page for a little while, but they are for adding to the word smile. I'm just measuring out here right now. Or do I glue it right now? I'm measuring it out here now to see if it would fit, and then I realized that I don't have my hot glue gun plugged in. So I am just going to put that down for a little bit while it heats up and play around with some more of the things. So I am looking for something, the gesso. So like I said before, this is the best way that I have figured out how to adhere these little rubber pieces aside from stapling them. If you have another way that you've discovered that works really good, just let me know and I'll give it a try. We'll see. So I am just going to add, like I said before, the little phrase that says "there are no words" to this tab, and I'm going to tuck that behind the photo. I am really actually happy with this layout. It is very simple, but I feel like for me, taking that plunge right away and getting started worked really well for my creative process. Like I said, I think too much sometimes and then I end up just going back to whatever I normally do. So having a differently cut piece of paper to work with really helped guide me this time, and I might do it again next time. Although I'm going to have to figure out a different way to cut it because I feel like I might just start going towards the angled paper, angled corner every now and then. So if you have any ideas, how do you start your process? Just let me know in the comments. So at this point, my hot glue gun has heated up. It's heated up. And it's warm. And I'm going to stick that down, and I'm also going to use it to stick down the flare. And I think I even use it to stick down that rubber piece. So that rubber piece, I brushed it after I added some gesso to it. But because there is gesso on both the paper and the rubber piece, I just hot glued it, and that seemed to work. And I'm going to hot glue this little flare, and then I am going to add some Heidi Shine in, I believe it's the peach, as well as some enamel dots. So these little enamel dots are actually the Nouveau dots that I made with my sister's Nouveau dots while we were at the retreat, and they turned out really good. I really like them because you can make whatever size you want. The only drawback is that you have to wait till they dry. Oh, so here I am just showing the sisters to see what they think, if it needs anything else. So color shine. So at the retreat, I did make these, and like I said, the only drawback is that you have to wait for them to dry, and then sometimes if you don't stop squeezing before you lift off the page, you get kind of like a little hat, a little triangle, a little peak on the top, so you kind of just have to squish down. So what I figured worked best was if you wet your finger a little bit and then squish it down gently, then they are a little bit flatter. So this is basically the entire layout. I'm just going to add a little bit of the puffy stickers, some triangles, and some hexagons, and that will be it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you to all of our new subscribers and our existing subscribers for continuing to watch and giving the thumbs up and commenting. We really appreciate all of your feedback. Thanks again so much for watching, and hope you have a very happy crafty day. Bye.